morning, everybody, and welcome to this other episode here, exclusively from the B&B Hotel of Cambridge South in the Cambridgeshire area. Now, of course, I'll be here for about an hour or so, and let's see how many people tune in at any one point here, as my dimmer dims a little bit here. So, of course, I paid about £73 for the night. And of course I got breakfast in the morning, so don't you worry about that. But of course, yes, I normally have the topic show kind of background, but on that note, I've got a different kind of background today. So I thought I'd start with the word for today to start with, and of course hello to Lauren, who is the first one in the chat today and this evening, and of course yes, thank you very much for tuning in, and of course I'm literally next to the train station. There will be a video, of course, well in fact the video is already up on the YouTube channel, because it's about 30 minutes long, and of course yeah, TikTok only lasts about 10 minutes long on the videos, so unfortunately I cannot post it on my actual TikTok because it's 30 minutes long. But anyway, of course, welcome along to the channel here. If you are just joining in, absolutely anywhere, we'll start with the word for today: act and react like a Christian. So yeah, this is the 30th of July 2026. Around the turn of the 19th century, a Russian physician named Ivan Pavlov won the Nobel Prize for his experience with dogs. Okay, and of course, all of them had one thing in common: they salivated around food. But Pavlov wanted to find out if the salivation could be caused by another stimulus, so he conditioned the dogs by ringing the bell before feeding them. Eventually the dinner bell caused salivation even if the food wasn't served. Pavlov referred to this learned relationship as a conditioned reflex. Okay, we have all been consciously or subconsciously conditioned our entire lives. Much of our behaviour, right? Okay, much of our behaviour was dictated by those conditioned reflexes. Some conditioned reflexes are as normal and natural as a blush. Others are as destructive as drinking to drown your sorrows. But conscious or subconscious, harmless or harmful, one thing is for certain: we are far more conditioned than we actually realise. Okay? And one dimension of our spiritual growth is being reconditioned by the grace of God. And this is the final paragraph on this one here. Jesus said, "You have heard that it was said, but I say to you," Jesus uses the couplet repeatedly. What was he doing, you might ask yourself here? He was uninstalling Old Testament applications and reinstalling New Testament truths. It was no longer an eye for an eye. Jesus upgraded it to turn to them the other cheek, which required reconditioned reflexes. Sometimes it's easier, or much easier rather, to act like a Christian than to react like one. Okay, so there's two different separate kind of situations there. How does this change our reactions? In our reactions take place. So how does this actually change in our reactions take place? By the Holy Spirit We are being changed to be like him, as in Jesus. The change comes from the Lord, who is the Spirit. So that's the end of the word of today, or word for today. Act and react like a Christian. Excuse me. So very, very good evening to everyone here. If you do want to support the channel, feel free to do so at any one point during the show here. We normally do a monthly kind of competition each and every month. So of course we'll let you know details of when the next competition, and it'll probably be once a month on that note. So yes, very interesting indeed for that. Something here. Oh, there it is. I've got two copies here. So yeah, I'll be talking a little bit about the Cambridge edition, Local Living Done Well, and this is the August 2026 edition. They've already got it out already. Hello to LG. Hello to, of course, somebody called Daddy. So yeah, I'll read you the first segment, of course, which comes from, of course, Louise Hoffman, of the editor of the Cambridge edition. It is a printed magazine, and of course you'll probably get them at the Claydon Hotel, or, as far as I know, of course, the train station of Cambridge. So a very good evening to you, LG. I think you are one of the moderators for the channel and have been for quite some time. So thank you very much indeed for, of course, tuning in. We will have a break in between, so of course bear that in mind, because I'll probably need to get a cup of tea or something on that note, and we will be finishing around about an hour, so of course yeah, you haven't got to wait too long. So of course this is what it says. Welcome to, of course, the Cambridge edition. You can also look it up online as well. What's your favourite food? Of course, yes. Well, actually, it was the nice tasting burger that I had earlier for the dining part, a little bit earlier. There are videos to come of that. Of course, we haven't put that section up yet, but we have put the section of the room up, so you can actually see that on YouTube if you check out Touring with Nick C. So, of course, Louise Hoffman, of the editor of the Cambridge edition, Local Living Done Well, August 2026 edition, and of course established in 2011. So, of course, the Cambridge edition has been going since 2011. That's pretty much a long time, I would say. So, yeah, come on in. Of course, this is what she had to say, Louise Hoffman, of the editor of the Cambridge edition. This month, of course, we are packing a picnic, donning our sun hats and heading to the water's edge, spending the summer holidays alongside our region's scenic lakes and rivers amid the nature-rich wetlands of the fens. Not only that, we're also aboard punts, paddle boards and boats, and diving into the inviting waters of our local Lidos. With a succession of heat waves behind us and possibly more to come, we're better to seek sanctuary than those watery heavens. And whether you are looking for a fun-filled day out or a tranquil spot from which to soak up the surroundings, there's something for everyone in our cover story, or in their cover story on page number 8. Indeed, of course, the summer magic is laced through all the pages that follow. Find recommendations for the perfect page turners to pack for your seasonal escape. That's page 24, as well as ideas of al fresco entertaining with recipes for sharing platter and Italian inspired dessert. Okay, pages 40 and 44. A tour around Cambridge's very own tropical rainforest in the glass houses of the Botanic Gardens. I've actually checked that out before, so of course Botanic Gardens is a lovely place to go to. Of course you do have to pay to get in. I have to sort of express on that one here. And of course 80 thumbs up really means a lot. We're pushing it to all our people out there, which is fantastic news. So yeah, the glass houses of Botanic Gardens, which is on page 66. So of course, yeah, the Botanic Garden information is on page 66, and radiant yellow homewares to bring the sunshine inside, which is on page number 73. Then why not settle down with a cuppa to enjoy our two interviews this month? Of course, Louise Hoffman, the editor, was delighted to catch up with Stuart White, page 21, to the face of BBC Look East for the almost 4 decades, having retired in 2021 following one of the longest uninterrupted runs presenting the same programme in British television history. He has decided to share the fascinating story of his radio and TV career in a newly published memoir. Meanwhile, Charlotte Griffiths was lucky enough to be invited to the studio of the Ely-based basket maker Nadine Anderson to discover the intricals of this heritage craft, which is on page number 32. Of course, yeah, hello to M, who has just joined there with a rose there. Of course, you might want to send a rose in just a minute. So speaking of the creativity, before she signs off, I must give a shout out to the team behind the first Aspiring Creatives Networking Forum, which took place on the 2nd of July at Cambridge Corn Exchange. Cambridge edition was in attendance, and it was a fantastic opportunity to engage with current and future creatives. If you've missed it, do keep an eye out for future events. With all best wishes, Louise Hoffman, the editor of the Cambridge edition. So, of course, yeah, Stuart White, of course, does that seem like a familiar name, by the way? Okay, it's on page number 32. It'd be interesting to hear what he has to say. It says it's on page number 22, or 32 actually. And that's that. Oh no, that's 21. Beg your pardon on that one. Oh, that was somebody else. Yes, Stuart White. Yes, I remember him. And he has just retired from the BBC, of course. Catches up with a much-loved local news presenter who helmed more than 8,000 editions of BBC Look East. BBC Look East. So, yeah, of course, thank you very much for tuning in, wherever you are tuning in, live and exclusively from Cambridge South this evening. So, of course, yes, this is what, of course, Louise Hoffman, who, of course, had 5 minutes with Stuart White, who had been, of course, a local news presenter who held more than 8,000 editions of BBC Look East. So, there we go. The first question, of course, which is raised in this one here to Stuart White. It's been 5 years since you retired from BBC Look East, which seems to have gone very quickly to me. how has it been for you? Of course, he responds to this. When lots of people retire, they do so with a sense of relief. In truth, although I enjoy having time to myself, I miss the cut and thrust of broadcasting. I spend time in the garden, being with my grandchildren and playing a little more golf. It was my grandchildren who made me decide to write the book. When they grow up, they will be able to read how I spent my life if they want to. And the next question is, how do you feel when you think back to your time on the programme? I think about how lucky I was to have a job I loved. I was able to meet so many fascinating people and travelled all over the world, from China to the US and from Normandy, landing beaches to the Falkland Islands. I have been inside 10 Downing Street and Buckingham Palace, filmed inside Sandringham House, and appeared out of a Sea King military helicopter flying along the border in Hong Kong. Most of all, I enjoyed meeting ordinary people who had done extraordinary things, but there were also moments of terrible tragedy where people trusted me to tell their story, which is something I never took lightly. This is what, of course, the 5 minutes with Stuart White from Louise Hoffman had to say in the Cambridge edition. Here's the next question for Stuart White here. There are a few of your, what are a few of your favourite memories of your TV career? There are so many proud moments. Winning 3 national awards from the Royal Television Society, being shortlisted on 2 other occasions, as well as walking into 10 Downing Street to interview Prime Ministers. Usually journalists don't get to walk down the famous stairs, but on one of many early visits I asked if I could, and they very kindly said yes. Also, my interview with Lord Hanningfield, who has been jailed for parliamentary expenses fraud, which was voted the best broadcast interview of that particular year across the whole country. So, yeah, the next question is, were there any moments where you had to think on your feet on the air? Good question. Live television is always about thinking on your feet. I was very lucky in that I usually felt more relaxed in those situations than in most others. I think having worked in live radio where you don't have a script actually helped. I enjoyed those moments more than any others. So how do you think the role of the television news is changing? Very good question out there. The big challenge is that social media very often gets the pictures and the sound online before the traditional news cameras and reporters arrive on the scene. A lot of younger people do not bother with traditional news outlets because they've already seen everything online. Very good point that, very, very good point. Broadcasting companies need to find a way of getting the news on air much faster without jeopardising the quality of and reliability of the journalism. I think Stuart White is absolutely spot on with that. So well said on that one. What qualities, in your opinion, make a successful TV presenter? Very good question, that one. And his answer is, that's coming from Stuart White here, is I think that the most important thing about being a TV presenter is to be yourself. Okay, to be relaxed, real, and in control. If you are pretending to be somebody you are not, you'll be found out very easily. I also believe that the best interviews do not just have a list of questions, they should have some questions they want answers to. But the most important thing is that they listen and follow up on what is said or left unsaid. Interesting there. So yeah, of course, there is a book published by Stuart White himself, who of course held over 8,000 editions of BBC Look East. Obviously he will be sadly missed. But anyway, of course that is another thing altogether. So yeah, Stuart White, the BBC Look East. I didn't even know he had actually retired, but it is actually true, I'm afraid to say. So yeah, that's breaking news, of course, just in, although you may have already knew all that, of course, as he goes on to say, which is very, very fascinating to say the least. He actually goes on to say that, of course, most people see the news online before it actually gets on the TV. So they need to find somewhere quicker than the actual internet. I don't think it's going to be easy, but everyone seems to know the situation before it actually happens on the TV. You know, as soon as it gets reported, it goes on the social media, and then people know about it. And of course, once it's already out there in the social media, people don't want to watch it on the local news. Depending on what it is, to be fair, on that one. So, of course, yes, thank you everyone that has joined us this evening, here, wherever you have been joining us here. So, yeah. Okay, let's see if anyone is actually going to bother to tune in tonight. And it is a Thursday, by the way. So very, very good evening to everybody here. Wherever you're tuned in here, it's hard to get people to get used to my new camera as well, which of course I'm broadcasting live this minute here. So this is a general topic show catch up. And I'm going to double check how long I've been going for. Well, it's nearly come up to the half hour spot here, and in fact I will do that very thing now. I'm going to play some music, I'm going to put the kettle on, and of course just pretty much relax for a bit, and of course I'll be joining you for the second half. So do join us in a couple of shakes. and Ember Swift there. Just remember where you heard it here. There you go. Of course, some nice little chill out music in the background here. If you're watching on any other source, a massive hello to you. And of course, please do spread the word and do whatever you like to do. And of course, yes, hopefully we'll have more people coming in. And massive hello to any other travel people out there, which is absolutely brilliant here. There might be some word for today that I've had previously. View the archived. Okay. There we go. I don't know if I can actually play this to you. It sounds very, very interesting if I actually am able to show you this. If I move the camera a little bit here so you can actually get the feeling of the actual system here. So I'm actually going to try and zoom in right this minute here. So bear with me. I'm going to try and move it upwards so you can actually see a little bit more of the actual picture in the background rather than just me in the background. Let's move it a little bit here so you can actually see that. So yeah, let's play it.
These examples of resistance to inventions that we now consider commonplace and enjoy every day. In Germany, experts said that if trains went as fast as 15 to 20 miles an hour, considered a frightful speed, blood would spurt from the travellers' noses and passengers would suffocate when going through tunnels. In America, experts said that the introduction of the railway would require the building of many asylums, since people would be driven mad with terror at the sight of the locomotives. When the idea of iron ships was first proposed, experts insisted that they would not float. It would be difficult to preserve the iron bottom from rust, and that iron would play havoc with compass readings. In 1797, when the first cast iron plough was invented, farmers in New Jersey rejected it, saying the cast iron would poison the ground and stimulate the growth of weeds. When the YMCA in New York welcomed the invention of the typewriter and announced typing lessons for women, protests erupted on the grounds that the female constitution would break down under the strain. Now consider these statements, each of which is a product of a negative mindset. 1. Heavier than air flying machines are impossible. Lord Kelvin, President of the Royal Society, 1895. 2. Man will never tap the power of the atom. Robert Millikan, Nobel Prize winner in physics, 1923. 3. Everything that can be invented has been invented. Charles H. Dewell, U.S. Patent Officer Director in 1899. If you want to accomplish great things and be used by God, become an I can person. That's the word for today on UCB.
So there you go. Of course, be an I can person. So that's the end of the word for today for that system there. And of course, yeah, we'll bring it back here to this locational area here. So of course, a massive welcome, whoever has been joining us absolutely anywhere here. What a remarkable day it has been here. And of course, you know, this place here that I am at here, Cambridge South, which is literally not in the actual train station of Cambridge South. So there's a slight confusion there. So yeah, I even said that to the receptionist earlier, the one that was probably from the other side of the world. But of course, very, very polite, by the way. So yeah, that is quite confusing, isn't it? But it's actually not in Cambridge South, but it is part of Cambridgeshire. It's actually next to Wilsford Parkway, which we do have videos of if you want to check out the Touring with Nick C website of the channel of the YouTube. Well, we'd call that a website if you like, but yeah, if you want to check out the YouTube of Tori Winixie, feel free to go and check out the video. So yeah, definitely worth looking at just for that, because I show you a little bit of the room and a little bit of the Whittlesford Parkway area, which is quite fascinating to see. It is the first time that I've actually been to this location here, and I hope to come here again, because you know, it would be really, really fascinating to be able to do that kind of thing, and of course to be able to check these kind of things out is a remarkable achievement. And it's not too far away from the actual Cambridge train station, so it cost me in a reduced ticket of the price of £4.50. Normally it will be something around about £5 to £6 just to get from Cambridge train station to Whittlesford Parkway, which is quite a cheap rate considering, of course, taxis are a lot more, but it all depends on what kind of taxis that you end up going in. That being, of course, you know, you could be getting into an Uber taxi worth about 15 or 16 pounds. It all depends on the area, but you're likely to get more Uber taxis around the Cambridge area than probably anywhere else other than cities like Norwich, and possibly, of course, maybe, of course, you know, as a place just not far from, of course, trying to think of the name, it's just gone off my head here. No, I can't think of it. So yeah, Bedford. That was what I was kind of trying to think of there. And Bicester is not too far away from Bedford, so that is quite useful to know about. So Bedford I have been to, which is the Pilgrim's Progress. I haven't actually been since, but yeah, it was quite a nice little trip to actually go out to Bedford. Of course, we haven't actually done that for a long time, but when we were able to get out just before lockdown, we were able to do it a lot more. But of course, we were just about to do it, and then suddenly, of course, we got into shutdown mode, which nobody wants to talk about anymore. But of course, yeah, we will. You know, oh hello, Cyrus Tea Rooms has just joined us here. I didn't even request you to join, and you just suddenly spotted us. So thank you very much for coming in here. And this is a beautiful place to come to. It's Cambridge South. Of course, the B&B. I think it's a Holiday Inn Express. So that's quite confusing, actually. There is a same or similar company of Ipswich of the B&B, which is near the train station. And what's so confusing, as I said a minute ago, is that, of course, the Cambridge South is in Whittlesford Parkway and not Cambridge South train station, although there might be an actual hotel in Cambridge South. Well, there's talks of Cambridge North and Cambridge East and West and all that kind of thing. So, yeah, that's quite extraordinary to find out about that. But on another note here, I've got some fantastic Great Yarmouth news. I will be hoping is the right word, to actually, of course, venture to Great Yarmouth. I'm booked for one night near, of course, the Cyrus Tea Rooms. Yes, I'm not far from that, actually, the massive Premier Inn, but I hear news of that looking around the social media. I don't know if I'm correct when I'm saying that, but of course, the Premier Inn, the Beefeater, is closing down, which is not fantastic, completely the opposite, in fact. It's bad news about that, and of course, yeah, it is a terrible shame. So I'm going to try and make the most of it. I've actually booked in, hopefully I'm still booked in, of the mini bar, which is the first time I'm actually going to be in a Premier Plus room. So I will be broadcasting live from there in August. So I look forward to that. So thank you, Cyrus Tea Rooms, for tuning in. Really means a lot that you are helping to support this channel, as we do for you. But yeah, we are looking for a sponsor for the show. So, of course, if you know of anyone that would like to sponsor us, just for each show or something like that, at a reasonable price, then of course we'd be happy to oblige. So yeah, we would just give your name a mention for a cheap price per month, and of course enclose the details in a private message. But yeah, what was I saying? Of course, I can see, of course, floodlights outside. Of course, I haven't heard a train for quite some time actually. But yeah, perhaps I've got stuck on the way. I don't know. Hopefully not. But yeah, apparently trains go past here all the time, and I've got a very, very good viewpoint from here. And of course, the videos on the Touring with XC will actually showcase that. So make sure you tune in. The reason why it's not been posted on here on TikTok is because, of course, it's about 30 minutes long, and TikTok is not really for 30 minutes long videos, is it? Not really. Think of it. They won't let you do it for some reason. But of course, it's not really for that. It's more for 10-minute sessions. But yeah, I've really enjoyed this show, even though, of course, it has been thin on the ice tonight. But of course, I just wanted people to realise that we've got free Wi-Fi here, and of course, this B&B is a non-smoking hotel that does include vapes as well. So yeah, you know, most hotels have got this help us save energy scenario. Okay, number one, please keep the windows closed when heaters or air conditioning units are on. And also number two, please avoid letting the tap run when using the water. So basically, you turn your taps off all the time because it's wasting the water. That's pretty much what they're saying on that one. And number three, of course, turn everything off when leaving the room: lights, TV, heater and air conditioning. So yeah, at B&B Hotels we are better together. That's all it says. There's nothing on the background. Nothing on that side. Please turn over. But there's something on here. Don't turn over. But yeah, anyway, of course, on that note here, I just wanted to share that with you here exclusively live as well. We're coming up to 11 o'clock right this minute. Let's see how long we've got left here. We've been going for 49 minutes here. We've got another 10 minutes here before we finish here. So I read one more, of course, word for today. Okay, I'm not going to do the voice for this one. I'm going to do the voice. I'm going to, of course, read it out to you, but I'm not going to get the owl voice on here. So this is the subject here. You must know who you are. July 28th, 2026, supposed to be for. He has created us anew in Christ Jesus to do the good things he had planned for us. So, a farmer once caught a young eagle in the forest, brought it home and raised it among his chickens and turkeys. 5 years later, a naturalist came to visit him and saw the bird. That's an eagle, not a chicken, he said. Yes, said the farmer, but I've raised it to be a chicken. The naturalist said, it is a wingspan of 15 feet. It's an eagle. The farmer said, but it would never fly. The naturalist disagreed, and they decided to put their argument to the test. First, the naturalist picked up the eagle and said, thou art an eagle, thou dost belong in the sky and not to this earth. Stretch forth thy wings and fly. The eagle saw the chickens and jumped down. The next day, the naturalist took the eagle to the top of the house and said the same thing. Okay? And let the eagle go again. So, let the eagle go again. It spotted the chickens below and fluttered down to join them in feeding. One more try, said the naturalist. He took the eagle up the mountain. The trembling bird looked around, and then the naturalist made it look into the sun. As he spoke its true identity once more, suddenly the eagle stretched out its wings, gave a mighty screech, and flew away, never to return. You must know who God created and called you to be. And that takes place in the right environment, the right company, and with the right input, God's input. He has created us anew in Christ Jesus to do the good things He planned for us. All right, okay, of course, that is just about it, really. Of course, except to say, hopefully catch you back on the topic show with Nick C. And of course, if you are watching on any other source, then a massive hello to you. We'll probably put this up on the YouTube here for anyone that wants to watch on YouTube of anything that they've missed on here. And of course, you will get the subtitles on here. And of course, yeah, YouTube does bring that up. And if you're on YouTube, make sure you watch every video, because it's vital that you do, so that we can get that coin loving thing shared to everyone here. We want to be independent here from the mainstream media. They won't allow us to come on their shows, so we have to put it here on our independent media platform, which is probably the new way forward, because you know it's very hard and difficult to get onto mainstream media. Because you've got to believe in their kind of views, and if you don't, then you're going to be struggling for a long, long time. You know, which is a little bit unfair. I think they live in an unfair society. But there you go. We won't go into the details of that. I can't even see a train. I haven't heard one for a long time. It's gone very, very quiet in terms of trains. There should be one coming out of the window here, but of course I can't see a thing. It's supposed to be outside that window here. Can you see any trains out there? And that's literally, you can see the floodlights there of the train station here. At least you've got the lights out there. They probably stay on all night because of the train system there. I've got a nice double bed here to sleep on tonight, so don't you worry, I will be resting to the full extent, hopefully, tonight. But yeah, Red Max has just joined a minute ago here. Hello to you, very good evening. You know, I had a really, really bad dream about Red Max, as in Ian Newman. I'm not going to mention it on here, but of course, had a really funny dream about it. And of course, he was in Haverhill, and I was questioning something, and I won't go into details, but yeah, it's very, very weird anyway. So yeah, some dreams are weird, and sometimes they're fascinating and all that kind of thing. So let us know if you have a subject that you'd like us to discuss, then please do let us know, forward it to us. We'd really love to hear from you. So yeah, just leave us a message, email, of course, touringwithus@gmail.com. You can always, of course, email us there. It's the same email as Touring with Nick C, which of course is our original kind of email. It's quite confusing, but it will go to touringwithusteam@gmail.com is the email for Touring with Nick C. So just to let everyone know and be aware of that. And don't forget, you can donate if you are watching on YouTube via our PayPal, just typing in small letters nclouds@hotmail.co.uk. Really, really appreciate your time, and of course, yeah, your effort coming in to watch us here. I have been doing these vlogging kind of things for a long time, since COVID times, and before that even under the name of freelance videos or TV back then. But then we changed over to touring with us, and then of course it's always been Touring with Nick C since, and we've stuck with that for quite some time as well. But yeah, just very quickly, merchandise is available if you want to purchase any of the merchandise. That is available through the eBay link. Right, I'm going to leave that racing for your mind. I'm probably going to put GBN on for a little bit here. Probably run the shower for a bit. And get ready to really relax and wind down now. So yeah, just checking the time now. 4 minutes to go. So yeah, I'm just coming up to the hour that I'm supposed to be going up to. So yeah, I hope everybody has enjoyed the video. Even if you've been watching on replay, we really do appreciate that. And hopefully, of course, you've enjoyed the music in between as well. So yeah, it's been a fascinating day. Hopefully it'll be a fascinating night stay as well. So is there anything else to point out? Not really, but of course keep staying safe, and definitely in, of course, extreme weathers. And of course let's hope they put out the Suffolk fire out, as of course it was reported earlier on GB News about that. And of course hopefully it will be under control soon. And of course, yeah, it was not far away from Sizewell B, so of course the fire rescue team probably are under control. And of course Andy Burnham himself said he was watching it very, very closely with a glass eye. Anyway, of course, we're going to leave that racing for your mind. Have yourself a lovely rest of your evening. I've got to shoot off now. But, of course, yeah, unfortunately, I haven't been able to show you a train passing by. I thought they would be every 20 minutes, but obviously a little bit delayed. But anyway, of course, there are probably far fewer of them at this sort of time of night. But from me, Nick, as in Nick C, on Touring with Nick C topic show, and of course, yes, from all of us here from Cambridge South, have yourself a wonderful rest of your time here. And from this room, number 205, and of course the other one, which is downstairs, is 105. Who has been, of course, meeting me for dinner. But yeah, I would actually leave that racing for your mind, and we promise, as always, to keep that positivity for you. Share the love. Peace out, and God bless, and good night, wherever you may be.